The Stormgate community update, the biggest update to the Stormgate versus mode ever, brought to you in partnership with the community. 4 new units to round out the Infernals and Celestials, 2v2 ladder, 30 new maps, an alpha release of the data and trigger editors, changes to every unit, including several massively reworked units, tech tree changes, economy changes, reworked upgrades, bug fixes, new quality of life improvements, and new art and audio. This kind of came out of nowhere. Yeah, so basically what they did is they released the game, and then they decided to chill and go AFK because it was undercooked. I've talked about it at length already, and I don't really want to focus on the negativity again, but for all intents and purposes, I think most people thought that it was done, myself included, although I did see on Reddit that like some people apparently were still working on it. As I understand it, I don't think a lot of the team that worked on the game remains. Anyways, I saw this video last night, and the units and whatnot look cool, but the video itself, not my favorite. It starts with this. We have a PNG that we Googled from the Stormgate logo that is, I don't know if you can see it on the screen right now, but this is kind of blurry. You heard they were cooking, period. All right, sorry. You heard a patch was coming? It's here. I vaguely heard something like this on the Reddit, but I didn't hear about it personally or anything. But anyways. The camera work is also questionable, but I will say, those units look pretty bloody cool. So these are, I guess, the tier 3 units for the Infernals. 30 new maps. So these are all community made. 4 new units. The Carnifex, a tier 2 frontliner, which I guess is kind of like an aberration in StarCraft 2. And then the Incarnate, which is the tier 3 massive, which I think is kind of like an ultra. It does feel like a 2010 video, doesn't it? Yeah. But they're trying their best, obviously. I can't blame it too much. And then the Celestial has some angel-looking thing. The Navi, a tier 3 caster. Hey, listen! Sorry. And the Dominari, also a tier 3 caster. All right. (2v2) ranked queue. Apparently now available on the PTR. That should have probably been there at the start, but fair enough. Look at this video, guys. This looks like it's recorded on an 800 by 600 pixel aspect ratio and then zoomed in some. Changes to every unit. Improved audio, improved spell effects, improved map editor, improved game flow, improved unit selection, improved legibility, 10 plus new upgrades. I mean, all of this is pretty cool, man. Yeah, the only thing that's kind of missing is a little box in the top right that says unregistered Hypercam 2. Does anybody remember that? No? Anyways. Bendycam, that sort of thing. Honestly, the upgrade does look pretty fun. Yeah, don't break my heart again. Honestly, I think for most folks, it does kind of feel like the chapter is closed. But it's nice to see that things are still coming up. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of problems, right, that they have run into. Effectively, they just, like, at some point released the game and called it the 1.0, but it wasn't really the 1.0 release at all. It was just, like, an arbitrary number change. They just called it release out of nowhere, and then, you know, people were like, yo, what? Yeah, exactly. Like, we've seen comebacks from games that start off pretty poorly and that become massively successful in the future. But a lot of it comes down to funding, right? So I don't really know exactly if there's been an update as far as that goes. We can have a look at the Reddit, maybe, see what people are talking about over there. Yeah, No Man's Sky had a great comeback, obviously. Even Baldur's Gate 3, when that first went into early access, a lot of people were like, ugh. Don't know about this. Yeah, I don't know what community patch means either. Does that mean a game is no longer supported officially? I mean, somebody's going to have to update it. The update is the result of a collaboration between members of Frost Giant and a passionate community of Stormgate fans. Our goal with the PTR is to create a place where we can iterate rapidly and battle test new ideas before pushing it to the main Stormgate client. This honestly looks cool, though. Like, the units, especially for the Infernals, look pretty sick. Even this JPEG is kind of blurry. It's one of those things that you make at a lower ratio, like a lower resolution, and then it gets scaled up over here in the browser. Our goal with the PTR is to create a place where we can iterate rapidly. Right, so you can download it on Steam directly. A lot of changes, though. Man, I really would have liked it if Stormgate just did the thing that some other smaller games have done over the years, where they just fly under the radar for a long time and they only pop up when it's actually near completion. Instead of, like, being... And it's kind of weird, right? Because, like, the advantages of being publicly available early on is that you can iterate from community feedback and all that. But I really don't think it's the right way to develop a game. Because, for one... the community oftentimes doesn't really know necessarily what they want, right? Like, it's ultimately games, they're an art form. And if you're going to have people tell you that your art form sucks and you have to change the way that you make your art, it's just not a great idea, right? Like, you have to have a vision of how the game should be, and then you make that vision come true. But it's a bit weird to, like, share stuff very early on and then get everybody very hyped up, and then people obviously give it a try, and you only have a single first impression, because at that point it becomes a bit of copium, and, you know, you can't really iterate very well anymore. It kind of... yeah, it kind of is messy. I highly doubt, though, that it's shareholders pushing for a quick release at the very earliest possibility. That's kind of the thing. I'm sure that if you invest in a company, you want it to be successful. You wouldn't really benefit from a game not being successful. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, though, that there was like a 4-month radio silence. Kind of sick. Thoughts about the community patch? Until now, Stormgate hasn't offered anything other than potential value to me. Snowplay was interesting, the scope was ambitious, way too big. The idea was beautiful, but the actual game was simply a worse version of StarCraft. Yeah. And that's the tough part, right? Just make a better game than StarCraft, guys. Just make it better. Can't be that hard. Suddenly, the community patch has dropped like a bomb, finding all these corp dev iterations, slow patches, poor deliveries. In one fell swoop, it's been overridden. The game has completely new colors with just one patch made by honest and motivated people. Whoa. For the first time in Stormgate history, I feel like this game is not just potential and offers something different today than what StarCraft 2 and other RTSs may offer. It has the backbone of a corp effort, the passion of an indie project, and it works together with its community. For the first time, Stormgate has an appealing story behind it. Well, I will give them the benefit of the doubt in the sense that nobody really expects anything anymore. So, in a sense, anything is better than nothing. 2v2 is insanely fun. I still want this game to be a success. Like, that's kind of the simple fact of the matter, right? Like, I freaking love RTS games. But the main like question, I guess, that needs answering at some point is like, why would you play this RTS game over certain others? Right? And as it is, there's very little reason to be playing Stormgate over StarCraft 2 or over Warcraft 3. If that's the vibe you're going for RTS. If you want to go for something a little different, obviously you have like Beyond All Reason, or you have Age of Empires 4, or Age of Empires 2, or any of the other RTS games out there that are still really good. Why would you play Stormgate? It doesn't really have anything too unique to offer. But it is kind of cool to see. Let's see if the Steam charts are any better. Are the numbers actually up? They are up! 43 people are playing at the moment. A 77 concurrent 24-hour peak. Yeah, the numbers aren't there. I don't really know exactly how many people play StarCraft 2 on the daily, because Blizzard doesn't publicize that sort of info, but it's more than that. Yeah, 80 players. I mean, it's... Again, for an early access type of game, that isn't terrible. Right? If the goal is iteration and progression over time. Ah, man. I would have really liked to see, though, what they could have done if they didn't do all the frivolous spending on loads of things that turned out to be irrelevant. Right? Like, obviously, they had a very different perspective when they started developing this game. But my God, if they would have poured all of the budget into just making the game really good, I wonder what they could have made. Like, if 100% of the funds would have gone to, like, making the 1v1 and the campaign good, rather than all this promotion stuff all over the internet and, like, you know, being part of all these, like, gaming events and then obviously having... you know, celebrity voice actors and all the rest of it, right? Like, all of the spending, even, like, the cinematics, the cutscenes, and all the rest of it, man, if that would have all just... I understand that getting the word out there is important, but in my mind, you make the game first, and then you start publicizing for it, right? Like, rather than, like, starting the publicizing first and then continuing onwards and slowly running out of cash. Hindsight is 2020. You know what my main disappointment is with this? Is that if you are an investor and you like to invest in video games, right? So you have a load of money and it's burning a hole in your company's pocket. If this team with this legacy could not make it work, then why would you ever invest in another RTS game down the line? Right? Like, obviously there's a lot of things, like a lot of arguments you could make, but I think if you are somebody that invests into video games, the proof is kind of there right now that maybe it's not a good idea to invest into anything real-time strategy related. And obviously I disagree with that. I think there is definitely potential for it. But if you are more or less like an outsider and you are thinking of spending and funding the development of different games... If you look at the success rate of RTS games, it's not a very good ratio. It's not a very good product, it seems, to be making money out of. Like, if you could make... Instead, you could fund the development of some shitty mobile gacha game. You're basically guaranteed to make your money back. Whereas with something like this, it's just way harder to pull that sort of thing off. I don't really like, though, how, like... Yeah, Dawn of War 4 is coming, of course, and there is definitely a lot of stuff that's still in the works, too. So maybe this, like, general vibe of it will change over time, but... Yeah, so as far as, like, the funding goes, so Tim Morton has been looking up on... he's been posting on LinkedIn a lot, so he's the CEO of the studio. Apparently, from what I understand, they're still trying to see if they can get funding for the game. And I really hope they can get it. And that they can actually, like, finish it. Because you can call it 1.0, but if it's not finished, it's not finished. Yeah, he's been trying for, like... as far as I know, this has been, like, the only thing he's been doing for the last 6 months or so. He's been trying to just get the funding for this game sorted, and he's posting about it all the time. Now, some of it, I will say, is a little bit tone-deaf. And I don't really agree with some of the statements and whatnot, but... Yeah, there's also, so this is very Reddit, I guess, but also just internet in general. There is definitely a lot of circle jerking going on too, where people just sort of agree with one another. Be it negative, be it positive. I think in general it's a little bit more nuanced than that. But there will always be a lot of people complaining, and yeah, there's always going to be a lot of stuff. Anyways, I hope they can somehow figure this sort of thing out. It's nice to see that there's still something going on, though.